if they are struggling, to think about what it is that they feel that's, you know, missing or isn't so positive in their life.
No, that's perfect. And I like that you kind of said there's different levels of it there and different things that you can try, because you're right, there is still a bit of a stigma attached, I think, to seeing a therapist or
Yeah.
even opening up about some of this stuff. Like, I think a lot of us find it really hard to admit out loud that we're feeling this way. And I think that's, for me, that's where social media has been really helpful, both from a sort of sharing standpoint, but also just from absorbing information, because people being honest about this stuff, if I see that someone else is feeling the same way that I do, whether it's social media or, as you say, a book, or I speak to a friend, or I speak to somebody professionally, having somebody else who, you know, kind of gets what you're going through, or at least can validate your feelings a little bit, so you're not sitting there thinking like, am I weird for feeling this way? You know, am I doing something wrong? Is there something wrong with me? That makes a massive difference.
Yeah. And you know, and just to say to your listeners, I mean, a lot of times, you know, when part of my business is training others in mental health awareness. What is mental health? You know, like, and a lot of people, you'll ask them and they'll have an idea, but some people don't really know either. It's flung out there a lot and talked about, but it's not, you don't really get a succinct sometimes answer to that question. So, you know, for example, I would advise people, one of my big ones I always send people to is mind.org.uk. It's a huge charity in the United Kingdom for mental health. And it's amazing. Anything you can think of with regards to wanting more knowledge in the mental health field, etc., is a place where you can go and you can look at that in the safety of your own home, you know, in the privacy of your own home. And even if you're worried about yourself, or you're trying to deal with stress or something like that, and everyday things going on, at least you know, you have a kind of outlet to do that. There's loads of stuff, by the way, resources online for people for mental health issues and for self-care. It's amazing. We're lucky in that sense that it's out there if you go look for it.
Well, and on that note, I know that you talk, you know, a lot of the things that we've spoken about today and a lot of other things as well. I know that this is a big part of your business. I know your business is
Yep.
still in development. So
Yeah.
I know that, you know, you're working away on the website and things like that, but you are quite
Yeah.
active on social media, and you do talk
Yeah.
a lot about this stuff. You share resources, you share perspectives. So can you tell us where to find you on social media so people can connect with
I
you
would
there?
love to. Yeah, please. Either Instagram or Facebook. You can look me up with the mental health musings by Mare. You can go there. I also do a radio show, and I do that most Sundays at 3 o'clock on Open FM. Now, for your listeners, probably, if you're not local, then you can actually listen live on their website. It's called openfm.scot. And there's a listen live button. So if you go on there at 3 o'clock onto their website, you can listen to me. Like I said, most Sundays I'm on, and I do a show about mental health awareness and wellness, and mix it in with a bunch of great tunes, music I love from all over. And yeah, and then just building this business, you know, it's and loads of fun things in development that I'm hoping will come to fruition probably next year. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
That's great. No, so what I'll do, I will put a link to your Instagram and Facebook, as well as that Open FM link. I didn't realize you could listen online like that. So that is brilliant. I'm going to start tuning into that because I'm super interested in all of this, not just
Yeah.
from a, you know, from a personal perspective as well, but also just kind of with the bigger picture. So I will pop,
Cool.
oh, I see your dog in the background now. We're recording this on a Zoom call. You can probably
Yeah.
see, I don't know where mine's gone. He's sleeping on the floor now, I think. But
I was in the back there and they look great. He was sitting on the couch like an old man with his head up on to tell your listeners, on his head up on the cushion, like he was listening.
he is
You
an
know what I
old
mean?
man.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
he's turning 11 this month, so he's getting up there. But yes, I will put all of those links in the show notes that
Thank
people can
you.
easily find you. And I know that as your business develops more and you kind of start actually offering these services and things. I know that probably the best place to find out about that will be through your social media. So definitely give Mare a follow, check out the show notes, or as she said, it's Mental Health Musings by Mare. I think I've got that right.
And you can listen to the radio show on openfm.scot.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. Sorry about that, for coming on the show and for sharing not just your sort of professional perspective, but also some of your own personal experience as well, because I think that is really relatable for loads of people. And yeah, I'm excited to see what you get up to with your business.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It was my pleasure.
Well, that is a wrap for part 3. Thanks so much again to Mare for joining me and for sharing so much of her personal experience as well as her professional perspective. I think as much as it is really great to hear from a psychologist who understands this from a sort of more scientific point of view, it was really nice to have the sort of human element in there as well, and hear that even as somebody who works in this field and, you know, has studied and then dealt with numerous, I guess, cases and people that have been struggling with this very thing, it can still be a struggle for her personally as well. So thanks so much, Mare. I found that super relatable, and I hope all of you did as well. It can definitely feel quite isolating when you're pregnant, or when you have a new baby and you're self-employed. I think when you already work for yourself, especially if you work from home, it can feel quite lonely at times. And it really helps to know that other people out there are struggling with the same things that you are and having some of the same feelings that you are. I know that that's been incredibly helpful to me over the past 6 or 7 months of being very pregnant, and you know, even just through my journey of raising a young family while also trying to grow and develop a business. So up next time in part 4, so the last part of my 4-part mini-series, The Self-Employed Mum, I talk to Dana James Edwards, who is aka Diversity Dana. I've spoken to Dana before on the podcast, but this time our focus is, of course, on motherhood and entrepreneurship rather than just hearing the story of her business. Dana shares her experience of finding out she's pregnant with twins, which was a little bit of a surprise, planning her business growth around that, and especially how she learned to be flexible and change her plans, because sometimes we don't know how we're going to feel. Sometimes motherhood throws some surprises at us, and flexibility is a key part of surviving, I think, especially in those early days. So that is coming up next time on the podcast. In the meantime, I hope that you enjoyed part 3. If you haven't listened to part 1 and 2 yet, I hope you will go back and check them out. I would love to know what you think. Let me know if you find this relatable, if there's anything we missed, if there's any topics relating to motherhood and entrepreneurship that you would love to hear discussed on the podcast, or that you have some thoughts of your own if you would like to be a guest. Please drop me a message. You can DM me on Instagram. That's probably the easiest way to reach me. I would love to hear from you. And as always, it's a huge help if you follow the podcast, take a moment to leave a review, or even just share that you've listened on Instagram. I will do my best to shout out back to you amidst late night feeds and nappy changes, because probably by the time this airs, I will have a new baby at home that is keeping me awfully busy. But in the meantime, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you soon for part 4.